Support comes from ServiceNow. We're for people doing the creative work they actually want to do. That's why this ad was written and read by a real person and not AI. You know what people don't want to do? Boring, busy work. Now with AI agents built into the ServiceNow platform, you can automate millions of repetitive tasks in every corner of your business, IT, HR, and more, so your people can focus on the work that they want to do. That's putting AI agents to work for people. It's your turn. Visit servicenow.com.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary, not available in all states or situations.
This is a Rogue Media Network podcast. Hello. Hi there. Ho there. Welcome to King of the Hill podcast. I'm Mike.
And I am Rusty.
He still is. I am doing this one on my phone.
Yeah,
my little laptop just died.
We've got the Mike's cup of coffee POV over here.
That's right. That's exactly right.
That's what his coffee cup sees before he puts his lips on it. There we go. All right, we're coffeeed up.
All right, so welcome to a That Ain't Right Friday. We talk about things that are adjacent to King of the Hill.
King of the Hill adjacent activity.
Of course, we are going through the new season 14.
We are.
We just finished episode 4 on Monday, and now we are getting to episode. Well, the next one will be episode 5, of course. And I've got a couple of things here that I wanted to bring up. I'm sure you have some other stuff, but this first article is from Alabama Life and Culture. Which I think culture's probably stretching a little bit. But
we got a question here. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, go for it.
Do you guys have a posted recording schedule, or is it about this time on Saturdays? No, we don't have like a set recording schedule just because our schedules vary.
A little rough.
But Friday, Saturday, Friday afternoon, Saturday morning. I know you guys like to know, and I wish that we could have it on like a set day, a set time every single time.
We were supposed to do last night, and I had like a little family emergency pop up, and so... I felt so bad because I didn't tell Mason about it, and he had already come in here and set the studio up.
Oh, he did? Well, at least it was set up for today.
Bad.
You know, it was pretty ready for this morning.
So this one is from Alabama Life and Culture. It says, Alabama guitarist instrumental in new King of the Hill soundtrack. So this is about a guy. Let's see what his name is. It says, there's a pretty good chance you recently heard. What is this?
The Living Church, serving the Episcopal Church and the Anglican Communion since 1878. The virtues.
Oh my God! Really?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's pretty funny.
It came up in my aggregator. I have an aggregator that automatically aggregates all the King of the Hill news
stuff?
for me, and that was what was in it this morning.
There's a thing from what's it called? The new.
I'll read it after that. Go ahead and read your article, and then I'll read this after.
So it says, pretty good chance you recently heard this Alabama guitarist music playing in your home. Right about the time Peggy and Hank Hill returned to Arlen, Texas, after a stint in Saudi Arabia. It's been 25 years now since Guthrie Trapp. That's with 2 P's. TRAPP. A guitar prodigy from coastal Alabama, and moved to Nashville. He's carved out a solid career for himself since then that includes recording and performing with the likes of John Oates and Billy Gibbons. That's pretty solid. The most recent feather in his cap is being picked to provide fresh incidental music for Hulu's reboot of King of the Hill. Small part of the show, but the snippets scattered throughout the new episodes help give the show a sense of place, set a mood for its happenings. Trapp says, I'm just proud to be a part of it. I mean, it's kind of another one of those living the dream kind of surreal experiences.
Yeah, I think it's cool that they found like actual relevant studio musicians and just regular musicians, period, just guys that are doing music.
I
like to have Billy
agree.
Strings be a part of it, and to still bring back the Refreshments. Like the Refreshments,
I hadn't heard anything from the Refreshments in forever,
and now they're back.
And Roll Tide. I think that this could give them new life as well. You know,
yeah, I agree.
Refreshments. I used to love the Refreshments. They've got this one song. It's about going to the crossing the
never heard
Mexican
of 'em.
border and stuff. It's a
Yeah.
great song.
I never heard of them outside of King of the Hill. I never, at that point in my life, I wasn't researching music based
Sure.
on TV shows.
Well-
actually, you know what? TV show, we talked about this when we first got here, this TV show, Weeds.
Uh-huh.
That's the first TV show that got me into looking up the artists that were making music for the show.
Well, that's about the time that IMDb started hitting its stride also, you know.
So that's that. There's that too, but there's another website that aggregates just music.
Nip Slip?
Is that what it's called?
No.
No, no, it's not. No, I know what that is, but no, I think now it's called r/celebrity butts, something like that. No, but
Celebrity
what was
butts.
I saying? Damn, I forgot what I was saying.
My neighbor, a famous singer, R. Green, if anyone knows. I don't know R. Green.
Never heard of him.
But I bet we
I've
would
heard
know
of
their
Pat
music.
Green.
I bet we'd know their music. Yeah, we know Pat Green.
Pat Green. That's
Anyway, he
what I
says
like
it's a small part of the show, but it's another one of those living the dream kind of surreal experiences. And this guy was born in Pensacola, grew up in Lillian, Alabama. He described that his by the age 12 or 13, he was playing paying gigs, which is amazing.
That is pretty good.
A couple years after, sitting with pros and playing. Anyway, he played with Patty Loveless and then with Jerry Douglas. He's been on the road a bunch, but this is really kind of his dream come true. He said he got a call from John Frizzell. It said, hey, man, Mike Judge just really wants you to do this King of the Hill stuff. And, man, one thing led to another. Now the season's out, and I'm all over the soundtrack, along with my trio rhythm section, and also put the band together for the acoustic parts of it. Of course, I got to say that Billy Strings has the outro theme music. That's the one you were talking about.
That's the one I was talking about, old Billy Strings.
The
Yeah.
Refreshments still have the
You know what he said, Billy
original
Strings
intro
said about
theme
his
song.
career?
Yeah.
He said, I was either going to be a hillbilly meth addict or I was going to be a touring musician. He said
Yeah.
there was no in between.
Yeah, I get that.
I like that when they say that because I really don't think that that's like what would happen to people. Like you're not going to become a dope head, meth head just because you don't choose to do music. You might be. Who knows?
Maybe those were the two things presented to him at that time. You know, I mean, he's
Yeah, he's an Appalachian guy. There's not much in Appalachia.
That's
yeah.
absolutely true.
You know, it's crazy too. Like the one thing that kind of like disappoints me about like how people think about that region of the world.
Yeah.
They think it's just a bunch of idiots and stupid people and stuff like that. When like really, without the Appalachian mountain music, we don't have modern country music the way we have it either. And like a lot of blues music and a lot of like cultured music and stuff comes up from the Appalachian Mountains.
Well, those are some of the smartest people, but they are street smart, basically. You know, I mean, not streets, but you know what I mean. They
can live
they're
off
not
the
necessarily
land.
book smart, but they are smart. You know,
Well,
there's
there's even people
Rally
out
Green,
there that are
country
book smart.
singer. Okay, cool.
What do you call him?
He said Rally Green, Rally Green, country singer. All right. So anyway, really great for this guy who was able to do that. I like the fact that they did. They gave him credit for being the guy who did all the.
I typed in Rally Green. Can't be that famous because all that came up for that was Rally Green SW Archive Paint Colors Sherman Williams.
But yeah, I'm sure if you could send us a link to his music, that'd
No,
be great.
I'll find him. He's right here.
So
there's Riley Green. Is it Riley Green? Not Rally Green.
It could be.
That's probably who it is. It's Riley Green, right?
Oh yeah.
Riley.
Oh,
Green.
I know that guy.
Yeah,
seen
I've
his
heard
face
of
before.
Riley Green actually. Yeah.
All right, second thing I've got here, and I'll kind of let you take over. It says King of the Hill fans still want answers. 7 questions after the new season. King of the Hill's revival still has quite a few questions that need answering. This is by Evan Valentine. Honestly, I don't know what site I got this from.
Oh, I know exactly. He's got this song that I listen to all the time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's called When She Comes Home Tonight.
Oh,
5
there you
a.m. out the door, 8 hour. Maybe more, or something like that. I don't know.
All right, so
It's all good, Rusty.
This was posted August 21st, 12:30 p.m., if you need to know that. King of the Hill's 14th season has become a massive success. Anyway, it goes on and goes on. But this is by comicbook.com. So here are the 7 questions that we still want answered.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Where are Luann and Lucky now? So that's one of the big questions.
We do want that, yeah.
Yeah, it says the voices, of course we know that they both passed away. Still at no point during the latest season is ever revealed what happened to the pair and their daughter Gracie. Should the franchise come back for a 15th season, we have to wonder if the status update any of these characters. I would love to see, if nothing else, I'd love to see Gracie. I think that'd be kind of cool. That's a good way to introduce that, I think.
I think so,
Maybe
too.
she comes in and she falls in love with the kid that Boomhauer is now stepfather to.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah. What happened to Strickland Propane? That's the second question.
Yeah, what happened to Strickland Propane?
Yeah. Even with Hank and Peggy's return, along with Buck making a comeback on Hulu, the story of what happened to Strickland Propane and ultimately lured Hank away remains a mystery. Is the company still in operation? Will Hank maybe get tired of retirement and return to his alma mater? I would like to know those kind of stories. And I like the fact that we didn't. I just had those papers right in front of that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we were more worried about getting us used to the characters again and just easing us into this is the way that their world is now, rather than answering all the questions. But in season 15, I would love to get some answers to those questions.
Yeah, I'd like some answers to some of these questions too. They kind of that it's kind of unfulfilled in that sense. And I think like the reason why a lot of it is unfulfilled, I feel like they created this show kind of I wouldn't say blindly from what the fan base is kind of asking, but I feel like it was in that sense there was a little blindness to it. There's a interview, I guess, with Pamela Adlon that I'd watched, and she was kind of talking about Kathy Najimy, and she was saying that for the last 15 years since the show ended, that anytime there's any mention anywhere on whether it be a comment in a thread or it be a little rinky-dink news article, she would always send it to all the cast.
Really?
Anytime there was like a little tidbit about King of the Hill coming back or people want a revival or people want this.
Yeah.
So she would always forward that to everybody.
So Najimy was probably
she
the one who
really loved King of the Hill and wanted it to come back so bad that she was literally
That's great.
trying to bring it to fruition by just anytime there was a spark or inkling of a conversation, she would always bring it to everybody's attention what was going on. And that's the thing is when a show is lit to come back, a lot of these voice actors don't know until it's time to go in to do the job.
Sure.
All the behind-the-scenes business stuff is not something that they're generally attached to. But this article that I found here that I wanted to talk about
hang on one second. I got a couple more questions here.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Where are more of Bobby? Where are more of his school friends? And I've already asked this question.
Yeah,
like,
Clark
I want to see
Peters.
Clark Peters,
Yeah.
Stuart Dooley,
Stuart
people
Dooley.
like that. Yeah,
I would like to see some of those guys.
I would love to see that. The next to last, the penultimate question here is: does Bobby know about Joseph's real dad? I personally think he does.
Yeah, he does.
In the one where Bobby gets a
He
horse,
goes like that to the... Yeah.
we got a comment here that says, "Wonder if Thatherton bought them out." He may very well have bought out Strickland.
I don't know that he bought him out. I wouldn't think Thatherton would buy him out. I think what would happen is
he might have won them in a
big,
poker game.
huge company came in and bought them all out.
Could be.
That's what I think, because he always bitched about Megalomart being the death of small business, and it wasn't the final nail in the coffin. Because when King of the Hill ended, it was at the final drip drop of family-owned business.
Sure.
It was like the last remnants in 2009, from what I recognize or remember, of locally owned family businesses. You still had locally owned video rentals in 2009 and stuff like that. That was like the end of that. It's like when the last little video shops were shutting down. Like in Belmead, they had that one that turned into a bread store around that time in 2009. So that's what I think.
I bought the last Flicks out in Robinson.
Yeah.
Turned that into
Yeah. So it's just like, I feel like that's what it's all about for like the Strickland Propane thing and the Thatherton thing. I feel like those are the last remnants of what was owned, like the Lane Prattley dealership and all that. I feel like that's the only thing that might still be family owned is the car dealership, because of how legacy car dealerships are. So I feel like big companies came in and they bought Strickland and Thatherton, and they're just gone.
Could
They just
very
went
well
the way of the
It
dodo.
might be a Megalomart propane dealership.
It could be a
now or something.
Megalomart dealership, or it could be like a Megalomart deal where it's like pipeline propane to Megalomart.
Or maybe they just started selling so much propane that they just went out of business. That could be it also.
That too, yeah.
Who's still alive of the older characters? So we're talking like Tilly's husband, Chuck, people like that.
Oh, they'd all be dead.
I would
by now,
imagine they're all dead at this point.
Or Very, very old.
Where is Boomhauer's girlfriend? And we're hoping that in season 15 we get to see her and understand more about that relationship. Michael says, do you think the break helped King of the Hill come back stronger? 15 years was longer than anyone wanted, but a break allowed the show. I absolutely agree with that, because like I've said before, I think that they had squeezed just about everything out of King of the Hill by having 22, 23 episodes every season and all that. I think this rest really allowed them to come back super strong.
Yeah, I agree with Mike to an extent. I feel like a rest was good and kind of needed. I feel like it's kind of like with the Futurama reboot and with the Family Guy reboot and all these other shows that get re-picked up. I feel like some of those shows get picked up a little faster and a little too fast, and it doesn't end up, like, the quality of the show kind of deteriorates. King of the Hill deteriorated long before season 13, in my opinion, about the quality of the show that I personally enjoyed. My favorite is up to about season 6, season 7. After that, and to be honest with you, and I'm going to let the audience know now, the rest of King of the Hill from here on out, man, I just don't have the intimate knowledge of it that I have for the first 7 seasons.
It's all right. We'll get through it.
But
the nice thing is we do every bit of the show, so it'll come back to us as we go through it.
I think it doesn't matter if it was 10 years or 15 years or 5 years or 7 years.
Yeah.
I just think they had to stop for a little while. What they stopped for ended up being a flop, bag of shit show.
The theme was great, but other than that,
the idea of it was great. But I feel like,
well, I'm just talking about the theme music.
Well, the problem is you've got a middle-aged white man running a show about a black family, and I think that's the killer. It's like having the PJs, the cartoon, the PJs, being about Eddie Murphy, bits and pieces of what Eddie Murphy's childhood or whatever his life growing up might have looked like.
Adam Scott.
But
running
imagine
the PJs.
if like Adam Scott was running the PJs.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit.
It doesn't really fit.
Well,
I feel like that's what happened with the Cleveland show. Really, it was like
what's the same thing?
The
with
audience they wanted to capture, they couldn't capture because it's a middle-aged white guy trying to tell them what's funny.
Well, we've also run into that with just voice actors and all the things. I mean, you do want those people with the different perspectives. Plus you want the representation, and so I think that only makes sense.
Well, I feel like when shows like Family Guy spin off and they try to capture a minority audience like they did with like the Cleveland show, I feel like it's just really hard to do that when you don't understand your audience that you're trying to capture. And I feel like that's what the Cleveland show is they tried to capture something they didn't really have a lot of understanding about.
I just got to wonder.
It just missed.
I just got to wonder.
It could have been great. It could have been funny. It could have been hilarious.
I got to wonder how much of a minority.
It could have been the next Proud Family or something.
I got to wonder how much of a minority audience you have watching Family Guy to begin with.
More than you would think.
Maybe so.
Quite a bit.
Maybe
But Family Guy and the Cleveland show are two different things.
Yeah.
In the respect that Family Guy is nothing but it's just a joke pretty much. It's just a constant stream of jokes.
I would love to see
Cleveland show didn't really hit the weird, Conway and here's Conway Twitty. They didn't do all that shit in the Cleveland show.
I would love to see Family Guy be over and Seth McFarlane really start concentrating on movies and things because he is a very funny guy. He's a very funny guy, and bringing back Naked Gun and getting such a great Rotten Tomatoes.
He needs to
score
do some stuff on that. He needs to do some more. He needs to stay in that lane for a little while and kind of explore that.
Make another airplane movie.
And that's the thing is how attached is he really to the show now? Anyway, it's probably a mill now. There's probably no need for his input too much. But the two guys that I'll always appreciate and I like huge part of my childhood and a part of like my comedic tastes are shaped by these two guys, Trey Parker and Matt Stone. I feel like the fact that they can continue to put out that show and continue to piss people off in 2025, like, come on, guys. Y'all know who these guys are? These guys have been making this shit since the 90s, and y'all are still getting up. People are still getting upset.
Did you see Basketball, the movie?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, you should.
Is that them too?
It's their movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen their movie. No. I knew they did a movie. I didn't know what it was called.
Well, they did that, and then they did Team America.
Oh, yeah, I've seen Team America. I know they did Team America.
Basketball
and Team America is absolutely fucking hilarious.
It's a great
too.
movie. Yeah,
that's absolutely hilarious. And
it's
to think, how
many people do you know that still say America?
America.
Yeah,
and not only that, the mediums they choose to do their art. So,
Yeah.
for those of you that don't know, the original beginning of It's all digital now. But the beginning of South Park is all construction
It was
paper.
hand cut. Yeah. Hand cut stuff.
It
Yeah.
was all construction paper glued together and stuff like that to make scenes. So you got to think, not only is it like a stop motion animation,
Basketball's great.
it's kind of stop motion animation, but it's not clay or anything 3D. It's all 2D stop motion with cutting. So they're drawing the characters, cutting them out, and for each scene, you got to think they have to layer all these. It's just insane.
Well, it's
I really
stop motion
appreciate
is
them a
what
lot.
it is. You know, it's stop motion animation, basically.
But think of how many little, like for just one scene, think of how many Cartmans they would have to cut and paste to make that one scene work.
Hand-drawn animation and stop motion, that gives me the freaking willies, man, even thinking about doing it because it is so tedious.
And you know, honestly, going back and watching some of the early animation, early. I've been watching a lot of early Hollywood stuff, and I'm finally finished with like early Hollywood history. Now I'm going into early Hollywood animation history.
Yeah.
And that's like looking at some of the concepts and some of the stuff that they were doing, and I'm
like
just
the
thinking,
rotoscopes and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, and then taking film and blowing the film up and tracing the cartoon character over the Cab Calloway motions to get the motions of that ghost or whatever that's doing that dance.
Yeah.
It's just real crazy stuff that you got to really appreciate. And again,
then it
how
kinda
can people
pisses you
get
off.
mad about...
And then it kind of pisses you off when you see the Disney stuff where they've taken their characters and just redone them as somebody else. Exact same movements and everything.
It doesn't really make me mad because I understand it to an extent. I understand that there's some scenes that they did that way. They did that with there's a couple of scenes in Jungle Book and the Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Baloo and the bear, John, Little John the bear.
Yeah.
Because he was actually a really big bear, but it's Little John. And they have those two comparisons or whatever, where they're two scenes out of those, like 2 or 3 scenes out of those 2 movies are all similar, Jungle Book and that. But, I mean, it's a cost thing. And they were making really great movies. But this quick article that I wanted to...
Yeah, tell
I'm
us
not
what
going
the
to read
church
all of
thinks
it
about
because
Hank.
it's a really long article. But I think you should email this guy, honestly.
Okay.
He's the assistant priest at the Christ Episcopal Church in Tulsa.
Okay.
So he's in Oklahoma. His name is Omar Cisneros, and I think it would be cool to have...
Bring him on as a guest?
just to have this discussion, the virtues of Hank Hill. So pretty much, I've read the article for you, and I'm going to kind of just break it down to make it a simpler term. I'll read this
And where
next
is
Friday.
this article at?
This article is at livingchurch.org/covenant/ the virtues of Hank Hill.
Okay.
But really, it talks about how he always tries to do what's right, not for credit, not for guilt, because good men do good things, that kind of thing. It's that concept. And my favorite concept that he does talk about here is how he talks about how Hank doesn't really discuss faith a lot. He doesn't really talk about faith too much. He doesn't really... he doesn't openly discuss it a lot. He does obviously go to church.
Sure.
They do grace before meals.
Sure.
He obviously cares deeply about the people around him and his friends, and he wants them to do good and be taken care of, and he tries to help them out when he can. But one of the things is that Hank does not necessarily, and this is something that I'm not religious, but this is one of the reasons why I wasn't, and one of the reasons why I struggled with it as a youth was I saw too many people inside churches telling me that they were Christians, not living their life openly and truly, and they would hide and they would do these things, these things that they would judge others for behind closed doors. Like I used to drink with this guy at parties on Friday nights, and then Sunday morning when we go to church, it's all like he was a vocal leader in the church, and it's all like condemning this and condemning that, but like you're feeling on this girl and drinking and stuff like that on the weekend, and it's okay to sin. I'm not saying it's not okay to sin, but you got to be upfront with who you are kind of thing. And a lot of people are hide behind that
Or
Christianity
you're living
thing.
a double life is what it is,
Yeah.
and that's a problem because I mean, even if you just read the Bible, it's that's in there. You know, you can't live a double life. It says I think religious people are the best hypocrites myself, and you got to have faith. You do have to have faith. Now, what you have faith in is up to you, but you do have to have faith if you want to have any sort of hope for the future.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what they talk about is how Hank is a humble person and everything. I want to read this article, but not this. I'll read it next week. Read the whole thing.
Sure.
Because we've already kind of.
I think it's a great
went on.
idea, though.
I like
that,
the idea of
that
it for sure.
Somebody
He's a virtuous man.
at an actual church is like, "Hey, let's talk about Hank Hill." You know, I think that's great.
And the last line of the song, and the last line of the article
Yeah.
says, "People who do good not for recognition, but because they believe goodness is worth it, even when no one is watching."
Yeah.
That's
Boy,
Hank
that
Hill.
is-
That's
that
the
is-
virtue of Hank Hill.
Well, we've heard that, you know, many times in our lives that good people do good things while nobody's watching, you know, and that's
Which is true. And you
very
know,
true.
I give Chip and Joanna a lot of shit because they don't really do anything out in the open, but I'm sure that in the grand scheme of things, there's probably things that there's some of their money probably
Michael
goes
says,
out.
I completely agree with the article. Also, I just watched the Manger Babies episode where Hank is God.
Hank is God. And that's the kind of reason why I want this religious
Yeah.
guy to come on.
Yeah,
is
that'd be great.
to
I'll
ask-
talk to him.
To
Yeah,
ask him what
absolutely.
he thinks about, Hank's
You mentioned Chip and
virtuosity
Joanna.
and stuff.
We've got them coming in next week
For what?
for an interview.
For who?
For this podcast called How I Built This Podcast, which
How
is
in the fuck did they get them?
which is a huge show on
It's a big
NPR.
show on NPR.
It's like 4.2 million per
How did
episode.
y'all? Are y'all doing this?
NPR reached out to us and said, "Hey, we want to do an interview with them. They're in your town. You're the only podcast studio. Can we get you to come in?" And, yeah.
Oh, so they wanted to use y'all as like the
Yeah.
medium in which to do the
So it's a
interview.
big deal.
That
I mean,
is
it's a big
deal.
one for us. You
That's
know?
big to be affiliated with
Yeah.
NPR is big. Especially
Well, I've
right
done
when
some
they
stuff
lose all
with
their
NPR
funding.
before. I did some stuff for Lower Street, which
I applied for a job at the local PBS stuff like plenty of times.
KWVU.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want a job over there.
I tried. It didn't work.
Yeah,
I just
it's-
wanted to be involved at that
There's
time.
no
in my
money.
life.
There's no
Oh, I
anything
know.
over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
There's nothing. But anyway, yeah, we got that's a big one coming up. We've got to get all of our carpet tiles replaced because we've got a stain on them. So our owner's really worried about getting the carpet tiles replaced.
Oh, these right here.
No, it's the ones up front. I'll show you.
Oh, I
we
got
drug
you,
a
yeah.
bag of trash through there, and now we've got like this snake trail on the floor.
Big
you know?
stain. Yeah.
But yeah, he's real worried about how it looks when they come in. But yeah, I think it's great. I'll talk to the guy in Oklahoma. I mean, I don't have any problem with that at all.
Yeah, I think it would be cool to have him on.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. We
appreciate you.
do appreciate it.
Listen to us ramble.
Don't forget about the outro there.
Yeah, sure will.
But we will see you again next time. Again, you guys are the reason we do this. We really appreciate you being here. I'm sorry there's no set schedule. Maybe in the future we can do that. But I think there's one thing left to say.
There is one thing left to say. We've been trying to reach you about your car's insurance. No, I'm just kidding. We Matanye.
We Matanye, indeed. This has been a Rogue Media Network production.